I love to play racing games on the Nintendo Switch 2, with for example having some Mario Kart World. However, racing games are a lot of fun with a controller, but if you're going to be playing them with a racing wheel, that's going to be even more fun. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Can we actually connect a racing wheel and how does it actually work? So today we're going to be taking a close look at the Hori. This is the Racing Wheel Pro Deluxe. That's absolutely a mouthful. We're going to be connecting this with the Mario Kart World. How does it work? Is it any fun? And also we're going to be testing out more games. Yeah, there are absolutely a crazy amount of games for the Switch 2. However, I did pick up a pile of them to see what's going on because the Switch 2 is backwards compatible and that's going to be a lot of fun. So we're not going to be trying to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because we do have the new Mario Kart for that. But however, we do have all kinds of cool stuff that I wanted to check out. So we're having CTR, Cruis'n Blast, Steam Sonic Racing, WRC8, Wreckfest. We're having Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and some Burnout Paradise. So I've been testing them out and to see which one is going to be a lot of fun. Because I do have like a different experience when it comes for playing a racing wheel and the Switch 2. But let's open it up together and let's see what we're going to be finding in the inside. So first of all, what I find interesting that they're calling this the Pro Deluxe. And this has maybe to do with the function of the wheel itself. We don't see very often that they don't come with any, let's say, pedals whatsoever. So yeah, the construction, you need to download it nowadays to save paper. And in here we're finding the racing wheel itself. Okay, so let's see what's going on over here. I think we have here the racing wheel. I'm going to pull it out with one hand. It's a very lightweight racing wheel, not to the point it's feeling really cheap to the cheap, but it's just like nothing compared with, let's say, the Pro wheels of Logitech. That's of course a completely different price. So in here we're having the pedals. We're having the piece of plastic that need to be attached. I think they did change things out. And in here we're finding the clamp mechanism. Hey, there is metal. Whoa. So this is what we're getting in the inside of the package. So let's do a quick overview of, let's say, the pedals, but also the racing wheel, what we can expect and what we can do with it. If you're going to be placing this on your desk, this is not going to be a fun overall experience. So first of all, the wheel stay in the position, but there were no suction knobs. I didn't find them in the package, but it's kind of weird, but we do have the idea that there were actually suction knobs or option for it. Checked my box, couldn't find anything. It's kind of weird. However, at the bottom we're finding these very nice rubber pads, and that is a very positive thing because if you're going to be using the clamp design, this is going to be very stable overall, let's say, configuration. The Hori racing wheel is something that we have seen before on PlayStation and other devices, but this one is specially made for the Switch. And so you can actually see on here we're having every single control that we're normally having on, let's say, a normal controller. So the overall quality, it is a combination of plastic and have a rubberized over here at the side. And but I must say that when you're going to be looking into this, yeah, it's not going to be any, let's say, super comfortable like an... This is not going to be the experience we're having with a Logitech, of course, because this is a low budget racing wheel. We do have the option for shifters. The shifters are slightly different than, let's say, more expensive of the racing wheel lineup, because you can see there's a lot of room of wiggle to it before it's going to be clicking, and everything feels quite cheap. However, this is not going to be like the ultimate racing simulation device, but I think if you're going to be playing this with some Mario Kart, and we're going to be playing a couple of other games, I think it can be like a fun semi-arcade experience. Another cool addition is going to be the pedals. Yep, it's not going to be putting the pedal to the metal because there's nothing metal about it. But the point is that, yeah, we're going to be looking into what these things can do. I must say that they did do a little bit of an effort where both are slightly different due of the spring. You can see this is going to be so much different, and also the space between this rubber pad or overall like the space in overall like in general is different. So every single pedal will give you a different kind of, let's say, feedback due of the spring and the distance. I think this is going to be really cool for playing some racing games because acceleration and brake is going to be different, and that's the way how it goes when you're going to be playing some old school games or newer versions with a pedal and a racing wheel. So let's hook everything up and let's connect it. So for this part we're going to be using the docking, of course. Let's be very gentle with this. Let's connect everything because we're going to be connecting the racing wheel at the side over here, and we're going to be using a docked. But let's go. But compatibility wise, this particular racing wheel is absolutely working great. I've plugged it in, didn't configure any pro settings whatsoever, and it works out of the box, so very glad with that. By the way, I have no idea why this freaking knife is in here. Let's clean it up first. So let's get into the game itself. So sometimes you do need to do a little bit of assigning with the button over here, assigning the button to the right panel, but you can mess around with it if you want to. But besides that, everything seems to be working just fine. You know, after configuration, you can just use the pedal, and I think it's just a really fun overall addition. So when it comes for playing, I do have the idea there is a slightly delay. Let's see, is there the zone? Yeah, but it is almost not really noticeable. Also, when you're going to be comparing this with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's the same situation. And I think it's absolutely cool. This game doesn't really utilize configuration, I think, for, let's say, the controller itself, or within WRC08, what I've been trying with this particular wheel, you can just do a lot of adjusting, so you actually have no dead zone at all, which so far I have noticed. But again, it's going to be a lot of fun just messing around with this, just playing some Mario Kart with the racing wheel. Playing Mario Kart World with a racing wheel is a lot of fun. However, backwards compatible, we're going to be having the option to play absolutely crazy amount of games. So Cruis'n Blast, CTR, we're not going to be trying Mario Kart, that makes no sense. But of course Burnout, Paradise, Need for Speed, Wreckfest and many other games. Let's do just an overview of a couple of them to see how compatible this racing wheel is and how much fun is it. Cruis'n Blast is a Switch 1 game that is great with backwards compatibility. However, this particular game is such a blast because this is a really cool, fun arcade game that is absolutely worth checking out. Because this is just one of those games that if you're going to be playing this with a racing wheel, I'm getting instant, let's say, arcade vibes, because this is such a basic fun game. The only thing I do miss with the Hori racing wheel at this point, it's going to be like the rumble function. It would be so cool to have like a rumble function in this racing wheel, where this thing is called the Pro Deluxe. That feels not like really Pro Deluxe if you ask me. But let's see if it's configured correctly, because I'm switching between games. Okay, yeah. The right pedal seems to be the same configuration like with the Mario Kart game. So one of the things I love about this is that because you can just fairly easy play. I mean, particularly when you're looking into the game, you don't really notice any dead zone whatsoever. And I think it has particularly to do with the overall game mechanic. Let's see where my turbo function is. Oh, there we go. Oh! The trick is actually to wait to the last part. There we go. So let's move into some Crash Team Racing. This is another game that I really love to play with a racing wheel, because similar to the Mario Kart game, this is a very cool compatible game. So I do think I need to remap my acceleration button, because it has been set to the wrong button. But that's something we're going to be seeing when actually going to be booting up. And yep, the loading times of the Switch, man, they are so crazy old school long. Yep. And there we're going to be finally going. So let's see what's going on. Let's press X to skip. That's so weird. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. So I'm guessing ZR. Okay, so it's kind of weird. So okay, let's assign the button. Come on, let's assign. This freaking bloody thing don't want to assign any buttons. Oh. Okay, let's press B to assign. I made a separate video about that, how you need to do assigning buttons to this freaking joystick or controller wheel. So I do have the idea there is a notable dead zone with this particular one. So when it comes to the game, you can always mess around with the button on top. to get maybe a better overall experience. So at this point I think Mario Kart is the #1 game to actually play when it comes to compatibility, or actually having the other game, the Cruis'n game, that was a lot of fun. But let's do a little bit of a racing with Burnout Paradise. Oh, love that sound. We do have a dead zone over here, but I think it's not going to be a big problem.
When you feel like a fast color change, drive through a paint shop.
Okay, so the left pedal is my turbo. That is kind of cool to have like perfect. But I think at this point we can actually play. I just wanted to see what's going on. Oh, this is so much better. Oh yeah. So with this game we're going to be needing to do a lot of tinkering. But if you're going to be setting this up, it's going to be such a better overall playing experience. Doesn't say that I'm going to be having a better overall experience, because I really suck at this game. Let's go with some Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and yep, out of the box this works quite well. The dead zone is minimum, so we do have like an overall fun experience. Of course the mechanic of the game is so much different. Ooh, that looks better. Let's see if we can have like a different viewing angle. And you can actually see the wheels over there. Let's see if this is going to be better. I do have the idea, like over here, now it starts actually steering. And let's see what's going on. The left or right joystick, let's see what's going to mess around with that. No, we don't see like a big difference over there. So when it comes for playing Sonic Racing, we can actually play this game, but it doesn't even matter which, let's say, setting we're going to be using. I was hoping to get a better overall experience if you're going to be having this into maybe the analog mode. There is actually a very nice control. You can actually see the steering of the tires. It's going to only be from this point. So yeah, there isn't that zone, but it's to the point that I think this is still a playable situation. Also, the overall mechanic of the game is so much different. I didn't need to map my acceleration again, because this game doesn't use A or B. It's kind of interesting that the brake is configured like it's supposed to be. Oh man, this game is so much fun, man. It's not a good game to actually play with the Hori racing wheel. But still, it's not the best one, but it is a lot of fun. Oh yeah, it's absolutely cool to use your Nintendo Switch with the Hori racing wheel. I already mentioned it throughout the video, there is no rumble function, but this thing does have like some really cool feature, like the assign mode. So in this way we can actually use the pedals and we can just configure everything that is going to be needing for playing all of the different games. So I've been messing around with a lot of different games, and I can tell you that the Mario Kart world is absolutely one of those games that is just a lot of fun. The same situation that I had back in the day when actually having the Switch 1 with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Somehow these two games are just really cool to actually play, where I didn't really showcase Mario Kart 8 because we already know it's compatible with the racing wheel. So Mario Kart, let's say World, is going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be hooking up a couple of this racing wheels because these things are not really expensive. So compatibility with different kind of games, yeah, you see throughout the video that not every game has the same fun experience. My favorite one actually, if you're going to be looking into the games, so let's check it out. So when it comes to, let's see, yeah, there we go. Over here we're having the Mario Kart World game and the Cruis'n Blast. These three were actually my favorite ones if you want to play with the racing wheel. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments what kind of game would you play with this. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video.